Okay, it's day 97. I just got a phone call from Claude Moore Farm, one of the caretakers there. He invited me out to the pig farm right there west of the CIA headquarters there. I said, is there a relationship to the Claude Moore Farm up where the PTEC was and the radicalizing Muslim school was, and also Imran's kind of places where he holds people near Dulles Green, near the Dulles Airport, near Brilliant, where they do all that great DHS software? And he said, "Oh yeah, yeah, but we're associated with that." I said, "What do you? Can I come out today?" "No, I'm going and getting. We're going to slaughter some pigs." I said, "Oh yeah, I used to hear that they used to throw in their enemies. The CIA used to throw in their enemies in Green Bay, or Evansdale, Wisconsin, or Delphus, Ohio, when they didn't like people." And we joked about, well, no, no, no. They get the organs now. They get the bone marrow now. They very little tailings now. So I said, you have to have a guy run from the pizza joint out to the pig farm, right? And we joked about that. Okay, so this is going to be, we're going to throw some cards here. I'm going I'm going to expose some sources because it makes things go faster, and I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. First of all, Alex didn't break the story and about the 99 pages, and it wasn't available till a few days ago, declassified a few days ago. Even though the date is April the 16th, I believe the reason why the court wanted to clearly separate themselves from this whole activity is they wanted to say, this is the FBI show, this isn't our show, we had nothing to do with this. And I'll show you that. If you haven't seen it, it's 2 days ago. It's 95.1. 95.1 is the day did the Awans retrieve the Fusion GPS drives. So I took snippets of the actual document, the 99-page document, and I basically went through and said, here are all the different violations. So improper handling of information, improper dissemination of information, improper use of third parties, improper training practices, improper review, improper resolution to known problems, grabbing too much of a data object, grabbing whole email screens, grabbing whole bundles, whole fiber bundles, what I call Binny fiber bundles, where if you just go for one person in one bundle, let's say I'm going for Veselnitskaya, they set me up with a meeting with Veselnitskaya, now they've got, first of all my inbox for all my Gmail, and now I can go after everybody I've talked to on that fiber bundle, text, voice, any kind of chat, as well as obvious phone calls. So I was just showing them how they got scanning tools and how they got hacking tools and how they didn't adhere to the tools around, and I'm not playing it from 95.1, but you can go back and look at it if you want to see the original with each clip. And I put it out about 36 hours ahead of Alex Jones at InfoWars. Now, what I said was, it was shockingly close in time to when the Awans kind of did this school play for me on April the 14th with Andre Taggart. And the reason why I was saying this came out about 2 weeks later on the 24th was because the FBI knew about the arrest, or supposedly this Capitol Police thing, and so did the court, so did DOJ, and so would the court, so would the FISA court. And they want to say, oh, no, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I'm writing a 99-page document here. I'm Rudy Contreras. I'm writing a 99-page document to say, hey, I have nothing whatsoever to do with this. You guys, this is on you. And it really doesn't get good until day 69. But at day 69, it kind of goes through this litany of stuff. Didn't have in this story was the Binny bundle. And InfoWars did add the Binny bundle, what I call the Binny fiber bundle. The Binny fiber bundle is a bundle, let's say this was the fiber line here, and I was going to target the word outdoors. In that fiber bundle, each fiber carries thousands of phone conversations. So in a 64 fiber bundle, that would be, I think, 65,000 to 128,000 phone conversations. These people from GCHQ, I was wrong, it wasn't G4S, it was the GCHQ. It was actually the British intelligence themselves, which surprised me that they wouldn't use a contractor, and they were actually sitting in Fort Meade, but they gave them the whole access to the whole Binny bundle. Then once they found a target, once Andy finds a target, let's say me, that he looks at all of my Gmail, and then I can look at all my phone calls, And then if, let's say, I talk to Visselnitskaya or whatever, then that's all they need is just one fake phony. Sorry, all they need is one fake phony setup person to now get the whole bundle. So they can basically just go around zip codes collecting. Just all I need is one person in a bundle, and I've got the whole thing. Fairview Upstream is the name of that program. Now, the problem is when you spatter intelligence across 17 different agencies, and here's ODNI, which is the umbrella organization over all those agencies. These guys are going to see it. Dan Coates is going to see it. Well, just so happens he's a target of Andy McCabe and Mueller for when he voted way back when, 20 years ago, for the impeachment. PDD 62 was put in right after that, Presidential Decision Directive 62, signed in May of 1998. The first thing they did was create a list of all the people. They created a list of all the people that voted for the impeachment and went after them. And then it never stopped. And they just kept adding more and more people. Political enemies, journalists, etc. Petraeus would add people that were critical of war policy, people who were war protesters, and disrupt is what came out of that. Now, speaking of flipping a few more cards here, here's Luke Rosiak talking about Imran Awan. Now, the only person that would have that information would be Pat Sowers. You don't see Pat Sowers sitting right here to the left, and Judicial Watch has edited him out completely because they want to control the source. But you're going to find the source to Johnson that they're talking about right now in the news, and that's saying secret society, is going to be Pat Sowers. Now, I don't know if Pat Sowers is a Navy Mason or not, but I have suspicions about him being a Mason. But there is this very tight group of these ex-Navy admirals that are in this kind of club, along with FBI people, intelligence community, people in the financial community, business executives, etc. Sort of like a Rotary Club, only it's submerged. It's submerged beneath the surface, so to speak. It's a submarine group, and it's both on the Atlantic side, which is the London side, and the New York side, and there's kind of an axis there. And also between New York and Washington is the real power elite. It's the 1,100 Frank Juster partners. They take a great interest in the CIA's resource assessments for minerals as well as oil. That's why you get all the Krupniks and all the Mark Lamberts interested in Zambia and Congo and so forth, and Glencore interested in Congo cobalt for electric cars, and etc. So that's where that comes from. So the Frank Juster Partners is going to have this centricity around investment, especially in overseas investment, where the Navy goes. Okay, so when did I first get my first inkling that this was a Navy intel thing? I first got it when I talked to Andre Taggart. The reason is he was saying that Hina was moving her car around. And this was in April. This is April the 14th. And I said, that's funny, because I've come here 2 or 3 days in a row. The car isn't going, for somebody who has 2 kids, the car is not going to either Hina's house or Imran's house. Hina lives around the corner. First of all, no one has mentioned the fact that Hina doesn't live with Imran. They live around the corner from each other, one on Lynette, Hina, and then one on Hawkshead, which is Imran. That's odd. But the second thing is the car stops really moving to those houses after March. It's going to a totally different place over by these playgrounds, right? So I'm wondering, why is Andre telling me about this car moving? And then he's saying NCIS is there because his wife was NCIS. His wife's a cryptographer, but then his wife's official cover as a chief petty officer is also working in the medical industry over at Walter Reed at the Navy Hospital. So this really is kind of like a Walter Reed Army, and then, I'm sorry, Bethesda Naval, sorry. So from right then I said, I'm not saying this is a Jack Posobiec operation, but it felt like it. It just felt like it. And Jack I met the first day in Washington, Navy Intel. I had a 5-hour meeting with this guy, giving me all the Deep BlackBerry, giving me all the intel on the BlackBerries. So it's just odd coincidences. And I keep seeing Jack all over and over. So when the story breaks so from now on, the face of NCIS is going to be Jack Posobiec because he's ex-Navy Intel. When a story breaks on a day after I do a story, I usually think it's Jack Posobiec. This has happened time and time again. I went to CNN. The next day, Jack Posobiec goes to CNN. Just it's happened multiple times, and so I just think Jack Posobiec called up Alex. Alex is a good friend of Roger Stone. Roger Stone's a good friend of Manafort. They're trying to keep this school play thing going. Of course, they're going to break the story that the 99-page memo is the secret to the whole, is the Rosetta Stone to the whole story. Of course, that makes sense, and more power to him. If Jack Posobiec wants to push this out and Alex wants to push out the 99 pages, more power to him. It's going to break the story quicker, so that's good. And so I'll just finish off here by saying I've done a lot of stories on the Navy since then. I have my brother's completely correct. I do have task fixation. When you know the answer, that's where you look. If somebody says, "Oh, I dropped my keys over here on the street," you look in that area. You don't look over by the street light because there's better light down the street. You look where you dropped the keys.